UFC 318, welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different today, and we're going to be talking about my personal picks of what I like for this, and just talking about the picks that make the most sense, what you guys should be betting on, and just the value of the each fighter. So, without further ado, we're going to get into my two locks of this card. Starting off with Kevin Holland. I like Kevin Holland to win this fight. I honestly do think that he will finish D-Rod. I think D-Rod, especially in his older age, kind of like on his way out, I would say. I don't know. I believe I picked him too to beat Ponzi in his last fight, but, Kevin Holland and Ponzi are way two different people. Also, Kevin Holland at welterweight is I've said this in the past. Kevin Holland at welterweight is a different breed compared to Kevin Holland at middleweight. Kevin Holland at middleweight is just looking for a check, trying to get that bag basically. He'll win a fight here and there too, but I always say Kevin Holland middleweight isn't someone you should be betting on or be confident betting on. I feel like Kevin Holland at welterweight is on a very, very good run right now. He's looked very good recently. I mean, submitting Vicente Luque I thought was very impressive. I actually had him winning that fight. But yeah, I think Kevin Holland will win this. I believe he is the lock of this card. If you had to say for most confident, I would definitely say Kevin Holland is probably the most confident pick of this card for sure. And I think he gets it done. I think he either could take D-Rod down, submit him, or either knock him out. Either or. I like Kevin Holland. I like his boxing. I like the reach advantage that I'll have over D-Rod. And I think all that's going to play a favor too. He's going to be a lot bigger than D-Rod as well. Moving on. My next lock of the card. Vinicius Oliveira. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to beat Kyler Phillips. I once said that Kyler Phillips was destined to be something great, but he just obviously hasn't really been. He just hasn't been able to find it. I think he's coming off a loss as well to Rob Font, which isn't a horrible loss. Rob Font is almost like the fraud checker of that division, I would say, the bantamweight division. And I just don't think that Phillips is going to have an answer for Oliveira. Oliveira is a pretty decent striker, good on the ground. We saw in his last win that he had against, I believe it was Magomedov, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I like him to win. I really do. And Vinicius Oliveira, like I said, he's looked good otherwise. And Kyle Phillips hasn't also fought in a while, too. So I would say Vinicius Oliveira definitely is a confident pick for this card. And I do think he wins, and I do think he gets it done. Probably on the scorecard. I don't know if he's going to be able to finish Kyler Phillips. Kyler Phillips just did not look good in his last fight. Very slow. Started off really good, actually, in the first round, and then fell apart. So, yeah, for me, I'm going with Vinicius Oliveira, though. And he is one of my confident picks on this card. So we will move on from there. And now I'm going into Ryan Spawn. I think Ryan Spawn is a lot better than Lucas and excuse me, Lucas and man, I don't know. I think that Ryan Spawn is just a lot better. I think the striking is going to be a lot. Ryan Spawn's going to have that striking advantage over him. I think Ryan Spawn comes out and looks a lot better. I mean, I definitely could see him finding a finish for sure, but I would say he probably wins by decision more than likely. That's what I'm thinking. But, yeah, Ryan Spawn to win. I like him to win this fight, and I think he will get it done. Moving on to my next confident pick, I would say Bruno Ferreira and Jackson McVeigh. This is one of those fights, or it's one of those fights of the night where it's like, what the fuck is this matchup? It doesn't make any sense for me. I don't think that Jackson McVeigh should be fighting Bruno Ferrara on his debut, and I think this is just pretty much a highlight reel, almost, I guess, a highlight reel finish of some sort, I guess you could say. It's just a horrible matchup for McVeigh, and I think McVeigh is probably going to get finished. He gets submitted, he can get knocked out, either or. But, yeah, I like Bruno Ferrara to win this fight, and I do think he will win. Excuse me. So I would say that's another confident pick. I also do like Francisco to beat Nicolay. I just think that Francisco is a little bit better than Nicolay, and I just think that it's a close matchup. I guess you could say they're both coming off losses as well, but I think that I think Francisco just might have the edge. It might just be the better overall fighter. So we're gonna see what happens in that fight. But I do like Francisco to win that fight as well. Um, Dan Ige versus Patricio Pitbull. I like that fight over 2.5. That is my confident pick for that fight. I think that fight is 100% going over 2.5. I know a lot of people are going heavy on Dan Ige, but, I've watched Pitbull for years, and I watched him when he was in Bellator and when he was running shit. He's another, to me, I feel like definitely Dan Ige should win, but it's another weird fight, man. I don't know. I would rather just stay safe, take the confident pick, and take the over 2.5. I think that's a guaranteed lock. For Roman Kopylov and Paulo Costa, I think you could take Roman Kopylov. Costa's a part-time fighter. To me, he just hasn't looked good. I don't think he's won a fight since before he fought Adesanya for the title. And he's just a part-time fighter. Kopylov's looked good. I mean, he had a good fight with Chris Curtis in his last fight. I believe before that he had another good fight, and then his most recent loss, I think, was to Anthony Hernandez, which isn't a bad loss at all. Anthony Hernandez is one of the top guys now in the middleweight division. So, I do like Kopylov to win. I think he will beat Costa. I don't know if he knocks him out, but I could see him winning by decision. Moving forward, I have been tossing and turning with this fight, but I am picking Max Holloway to beat Dustin Poirier. It is very, very hard to beat a fighter 3 times in a row. I'm kind of like I said, I've been flipping, tossing, and turning with this fight. I originally was on Dustin, and now I've kind of shifted towards Max. I think Max, his coming off, compared their losses, Dustin Poirier was struggling with a Makhachev that had staph infection and wasn't at 100%. And Max Holloway fought probably the best fighter in the UFC right now and got knocked out. And, people are talking about him getting knocked out, which I did predict. But to be fair, the same thing would happen to Dustin Poirier. I believe Poirier would knock out Dustin. So I just don't think that, don't get me wrong, Dustin has power and he's a very good striker. But I've been saying that Poirier could pretty much annihilate almost anyone in the lightweight division. I think the only one that's going to give him a run for his money is probably Arman Tsarukyan. But other than that, I don't see anyone else giving him a lot of trouble, especially in the stand-up department. He's just too well-rounded. But getting off topic, I think Max Holloway is just the cleaner fighter at this point in his career, especially if the Max Holloway that fought Justin Gaethje comes out and does what he needs to do. I think that Max Holloway will win by a landslide if that's the case. I think we could see a striking masterclass. I don't know how Dustin's going to look. A lot of fighters also don't win their retirement fights, statistically. So I think a lot of that plays in a favor. But overall, I think Max is just the better boxer in terms of his volume, and I think he's going to throw more and land more. Dustin definitely is going to have that power advantage, but I do think that Max Holloway is going to come out on top of this. Guys, like I said, it's very hard for a fighter to win 3 times in a row. And I think that Max Holloway is finally going to get it, and he'll finally get that win that he wants. I would say that's pretty much it. I would stay away from a lot of these other ones. I've heard some people going with Oteiba to beat Robert Valentin. Another weird one. Realistically, Oteiba should knock out Robert, but man, it's a really weird one because we haven't really seen too much of Oteiba. He had a quick knockout, and that was pretty much it. We don't know if this guy's got a gas tank, if he could go long. We don't know how he looks in those later rounds. So, again, if he doesn't get that knockout quick, which he should get that knockout within the first 3 minutes of the first round, realistically. But if he doesn't, could be trouble. I'm not too sure. But, guys, those are my confident picks for this card. If you like, if hopefully you guys agree with what I have, let me know in the comments what you guys like. But that's what I'm on. That's what I like today. More than likely, I'm probably going to stay away from the main event, probably do a separate, something separate for that, probably just a single bet, I would say, and everything else I think you could parlay up, but that main event is, like I said, it's 50-50, but I do like Max Holloway to win. I think he is going to get it done, and he'll probably win by a decision of some sort. Max Holloway winning by KO would be the craziest thing to me, But yeah, I like Max to win, and I think he is gonna get it done. So guys, let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, and like I said, let me know in the comments what your guys' thoughts are on my picks. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Hope let's cash out today, everyone. Later.